Welcome to the podcast that's dedicated to helping business owners to prepare for exit so you can maximize value and exit on your terms. This is the Exit Insights podcast presented by Succession Plus. I'm Daryl Bates-Brownsword, and today I'm talking to Rocky Lalvani from Profit Comes First. I met Rocky recently, and he was sharing his concepts around just turning the normal business model on its head. And instead of profit being the last thing that comes out of your P&L and you're running your business, he's gone, let's flip it around and let's think about profit first. So that's the most important thing. Rocky, I've probably done it a bit of a disservice, but why don't you give us an introduction and we'll talk about your business modeling and how it all works.
Thank you so much for having me, Daryl. And I think you did a wonderful job. I work with small business owners, and our goal is at the end of the day to make you more profitable. You went into this business to create an income, to be profitable. And too often, I think for many business owners, profit tends to be a leftover. I mean, if you take the equation that we're all told, sales minus expenses equals profit. Well, where is profit? It's a leftover. It's something that you find about late in the game. And it's something that for many business owners is elusive. And so what we did is switch the equation to sales minus profit equals expenses. So we take our profits first and we constrain our expenses because business owners just have this tendency to spend every dollar that they have.
Well, it's interesting, and as you were speaking, I was thinking, I'm going, what's led us down this path? And I think one of the things is perhaps the tax system. You know, we're encouraged by our accountants to let's minimize profit. Let's structure things how we can and minimize profit because we pay tax on profit, and so perhaps that's not helping us either. I'm not encouraging everyone wants to go and pay more profit, pay more tax, but it's an influencer, I'm sure.
So I'll tell you a dirty secret. And this is based on human behavior. If you call your tax person and he says you owe $20,000, you're going to scream at him or her, be mad at them. Maybe you'll even fire them. If you call your tax person and say, hey, I got you a $2,000 refund, you're going to love them. But here's the thing. In order to go from that tax to the refund, that accountant's going to encourage you to spend money. Go buy a new truck. Go do this. Go do that. And that's how they're going to get your taxes negative so they look like a hero. 3 months from now, when you have to pay for that and your cash flow is horrible, they're not around, right? You're not calling them going, hey, why is my cash flow so bad? That's not the conversation that's being had. So they're doing essentially what you have taught them to do, give you an answer that you're not going to get mad about. And it's a shame. And so these things start to happen. And when you question why, I think you get that bigger picture of what's the right way to do it.
Yeah. And to jump in the accountant seat now and to defend them a little bit, I think, what a lot of business owners do is when they first start their business, they go to their accountant and they go, look, I want to set up this business. And the accountant says, okay, tell me a bit about what you're trying to achieve. And they'll give them a brief. And at the very beginning, they want to minimize their risk and their cost and everything. So they go, set it up. I want to pay as little tax as possible. Cash flow is tight. Let's keep it as lean as possible and structure it so I pay minimal tax. What they're not doing, I don't think, is going back to their accountant 5 years later and they're still, or their business has grown, it's now established, they're running a viable business. They're not saying to the accountant, hey, look, I want to change my brief. I no longer struggling on cash flow. I'm running a profitable business and no one ever went broke paying taxes. So I'm running my business. We need to change the brief from minimizing tax to focusing on equity build and building the valuation of my business. I need to swap from a revenue focus to an equity focus. So I just put that out there to all the accountants who are about to email in and say, Daryl, look, you're crazy. And it's okay. I'm looking at both sides here.
I'm married to a CPA. I can tell you these stories.
Yeah, between you and me. Okay, so we're switching it on its head. We're going sales minus profit equals expenses. We need to live to our means, and I guess that applies to our business. Living and growing to our means. And I guess what about the caveat of growth, Rocky? We go into high growth. We've still got to manage cash flow. There's, I guess, funding comes in if we now get some external funding or loans or growth capital. How does that play with the equation?
So it doesn't change the equation. And there's a couple things to think about. What happens to a lot of business owners when they get into rapid growth is over time, they get into a situation where the cash flow is not keeping up with growth.
Yeah.
So while they might have wonderful growth and they might have great sales and the books say they're profitable, the cash is all locked up in places that they can't access it. And that literally brings the entire company to a halt. And so we're very careful about planning for growth, but planning for growth to make sure that you have enough cash to handle the growth. That's the reason many fast growing companies fall apart, is because they don't have cash. They might be profitable, but no cash, everything stops. The second thing is, depending on how your funding came in, one of the things that, and so I'm going to call everybody out, under the bus today. You go to private equity and they hand you money. They want you to spend it and they want you to grow super fast. The reality is they know that 1 out of 10 of their deals is going to make them a ton of money.
Yeah.
They know 4 out of 5 of them are going to break even, and they know 5 are going to go bust. They don't care, right? Their goal is they're looking for the 1 out of 10. When they hand you money, they're going to force you to spend it, even if you spend it inappropriately. And I think when we give business owners cash, they just have the habit of burning through it. And so you really have to be constrained. And at the end of the day, if I invest cash in a business, I want a return. And you have to make sure how you're investing it truly provides a return. And you know that. And for a lot of business owners, they don't know. They might go out and spend on advertising. We'll say, well, how many sales did your advertising bring in? Like, I don't know. If you don't know the math behind your business, there's a problem. So you've got to figure out all of these and have systems and processes in place to understand the numbers of your business.
100%. And I've done a bit of work with some FDs and CFOs over the years. And what the big thing they taught me, and when I was first learning this myself, is that, as you're saying, the business, the accounting, looking back on paper, it looks like we made an amazing profit. But from a cash flow perspective, we had to incur expenses before the money came in, and it suffocated us. And so the FD or the CFO coming in and doing the cash flow forecast and making sure we're on top of the cash, so that we don't go out the back door, as you suggest. So and then before we go through those growth curves, it's amazing, isn't it? When we tell the story, we look back and we tell the story about how we grew 10, 20, 15, whatever it is, percentage growth per year. But the real story is it's not a nice exponential curve. We go up and it's growing pains and growth spurts, and it's more like a staircase that we go up, and we go up a step and then we settle down and you calibrate to that new level. Then we build a war chest and get a bit of cash in the bank and save up, and then we invest that cash into the new step of growth and step up and then equalize again. It's never a nice smooth curve like it always looks in hindsight when we're telling the story down the pub with our mates and on podcasts even.
No, it is a bumpy road. And I think the thing to realize is your business is a system and people have to run the system. If you're not building good systems at the beginning of your business, then the problems as you grow multiply as time goes on. And so you really have to make sure that you've got your systems and processes in place and that they work, because it will make the growth much easier. You won't have to struggle as much, and you won't have the big mess ups. When you're small, you make a mistake. It's a small mistake, but that same mistake when you're large can cause massive problems.
Sure. Okay, so we're talking about systems, processes, We've got a philosophy around let's save some profit. Let's extract that out. It's a bit like tithing, I guess. We'll set that aside as first, and then we'll spend what's left. Have you alluding to the fact that there's some tips and secrets you've got towards systemizing to extract profit first? The listeners are out there, I'm sure they're going, okay, profit first sounds like a great thing. How do I do it? What do I do differently?
So first of all, Profit First is a cash flow management system designed for the way most entrepreneurs do business. So the reality is most entrepreneurs are not opening up their accounting software and saying, how much money do I have? Can I spend it? Most business owners are looking at their bank balance. Yes. Some of them do it multiple times a day. Do I have money? Do I need to sell? Can I spend? How does that all work? Profit First is designed to work the way you behave. So it's a behavioral system for cash flow. And basically what we do is we set up multiple accounts. And it depends on your business, but there are some core basic accounts. The first one is the income account. So all your sales go into one account. So I can look at that account and I can see how much I've actually collected on my sales. And that's an important point. Just because you sell something, it doesn't matter until the money is in the bank, right?
It's and not so until the cash is in the bank. Absolutely.
We celebrate when you look at your income account and you see the cash in the bank. Now, from that income account, we allocate money to other accounts based on percentages. We start with where you're at, but over time, we get to our goal. So this is a process that takes time. This is not an overnight solution. It might take you a few years in your business to get from where you are to where you should be. Okay. So we start allocating. The first thing we do is allocate for profit. If you say, hey, I want to be 5% profitable, then we're going to take 5% of your sales and put them in the profit account. The next thing we're going to do is allocate for taxes, because let's face it, it's not your money, it's the government's. We tend to spend our tax money, so we put the money aside for taxes, whatever the percentage is, and that goes in the tax account. When it's time to make quarterly tax payments or the end of the year comes, it's easy to do that. Now, this is going to sound shocking, but many business owners who use this system, the anxiety of tax time goes away. They know that, hey, if I've got a big tax bill, I can stroke a check for it. They're not so fearful anymore. And they don't mind paying taxes because they know they were profitable. It's the price you pay for success. And they seem to view it differently. The next account that we put aside is for owner's pay. Too often owners pay themselves last. You're the one who took the risk. You're the one who did the work. Why are you paying yourself after everyone else? If your home life is not solid, if you're not financially sound, it's really going to affect the way you run your business. It's just a mindset thing, and it's the way you feel. So if you can handle your finances and make sure your home life is good, you're going to be better in your business.
Yep.
And then the last place we put our money is the OpEx account. And the operating account that's where we put our money that we actually have to spend in the business. But we've paid ourselves, we've taken profit, we've covered taxes, and now we know how much is truly there to spend. What this does is when all the money's mixed in one big pot, you think you have a lot more money than you do. And you spend your profit and you spend your pay and you spend your tax money. This gives you a much quicker insight of how much you truly have to spend in your business. Now, certain businesses will add some extra accounts. So if you have a high cost of goods, people might put aside a cost of goods account. So every time they sell something, they put the actual cost of goods in a separate account so that they can prepay. They have to, some of my clients, they order in from foreign countries. They need to place a large order, and then they're sitting on 6 months of inventory. Well, this allows them to pay for their inventory cash. Some of my clients have businesses that are cyclical or they are seasonal. And what we do is when we hit that season and there's excess cash flow coming in, we remove the excess cash flow and we put it aside. And then when we get to slow months, we remove the excess cash flow so that we can smooth out our cash flow. We're not going boom to bust all the time. So there are a variety of ways, that you can adjust this to work what's best for your business.
Okay. So I can see now that you said it takes a couple of years, I guess, to really settle this down and see the patterns. So you're looking for, and you're going, hey, okay, so we extract the we have the main account for all the sales income, then we extract the profit. And off that we go, well, we need to take tax out. And I'm guessing the tax is you're taking a percentage of profit, or is that a percentage of the revenue?
We just set it for a percentage of revenue, but we set it an appropriate percentage based on your particular business and what we expect your taxes to be.
Right. So every time a check for $1,000 comes in, you go 10% here, 5% there, 2% there, and then the owners pay whatever. And so you just hive it off, and you can do that quickly and easily.
Correct. Now, when you look at your bank account, you know how much you truly have to spend because you've labeled, hey, this is my spending dollars, especially if you have high cost of goods and you're spending your cost of goods on your business operation. That's really going to cause constraints.
Yeah.
So this tells you, hey, this is for this purpose, and it gives you permission to spend it for that purpose.
Okay. So then there's an operating perspective. Do you then use that for business planning and go, hey, look, in our operating account, the leftover account, we've got X amount of dollars there, pounds there. That's our